friends. Welcome to our first segment of My Generation, a podcast sponsored by and in collaboration with South Shore Senior News, a monthly newspaper that connects seniors and the sandwich generation on a monthly basis. My name is Doreen Lang, and I'm your host. This segment is being recorded and can be found along with other segments on southshoreseniornews.com. This is very exciting because it's our first podcast running out this season. And today it is my pleasure to speak with Evan Frye. Evan is the marketing coordinator at the South Shore Music Circus and Cape Cod Melody Tent. Well, that's got to be a lot of work, Evan.
That's for sure.
Yeah, you must be busy, but what a great job. So before we kind of get into some fun stuff, give us a little bit background. How long has the South Shore Music Circus been open?
So we've been here since 1951. This was originally the horse grounds for the Bancroft Estate in Cohasset. There's still, in the parking lot behind me, there's still a patch of grass that they kept, which was the horse ring, I guess, for showing off the horses. So that is left there as tribute. So we've been here since 1951, over 70 years now.
Wow, I had no idea it was that long. So
yeah.
tell us a little history of the Music Circus.
Sure. So in 1932, at the Cape Cod Playhouse, which was putting on theater shows at the Dennistown Hall, they were looking for an additional site to do theater shows in the summertime. So they picked the horse grounds at the Bancroft Estate and set up a tented theater. In 51, this is when they moved there. They started at the town hall in Cohasset, then moved to the horse grounds. I apologize. And then, we've been here since then. In 75, they put in the actual concrete bowl in what is set up here now with the rotating stage and the theater in the round. In 1990, they bought our sister venue, the Cape Cod Melody Tent. Both are run by the nonprofit, the South Shore Playhouse Associates. So it's two identical venues, both in Massachusetts, theater in the round with a rotating circular stage, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's really cool. I've seen a couple of people in Cape Cod, and it's just pretty gorgeous and dramatic to have them kind of spin slowly in front of you.
Right.
That's really a great,
a
great visual. Yeah.
Artists love it because they're right in the middle of the crowd. It's like an experience like no other for them. So.
Oh yeah, I saw Diana Krall, who was amazing there, and then I've seen Boss Skaggs at the one in Cohasset. So.
Oh yeah.
I haven't been to many, but boy, pretty exciting. So tell me some of the shows that have been at the Music Circus since you've been there. That's been pretty much the highlight.
So we've had Darius Rucker. The Beach Boys have come a couple times. We've got a bunch of big country stuff like Lee Brice, Brett Eldridge, Jake Owen. Lee Brice and Brett Eldridge have come the past couple of years since I've been here, and they always do great, sell out and have put on an excellent show. Everyone loves it. We've had a lot of big comedy. Amy Schumer came to the Melody Tent last year. We've had Bill Burr down there. I think Dave Chappelle has played at both venues. So we've had a lot of big, exciting shows.
Yeah, absolutely. I was thinking one of the reasons I was so excited to have you on is because you kind of had to shut down, right? With COVID. I mean,
yes,
it's almost like community, right? People coming together, standing together, enjoying each other.
Yep.
And of course, drinking and eating and all that kind of stuff that keeps you so close together. So, and I'm sure you have relationships with all these stars and their agents, right? So they were really at home, right? And then they were kind of waiting to come back out. So how was that being kind of putting you on pause, right? For how long was that? Was it actually 2 summers?
It was just one summer, 2020. Thankfully, we were able to reschedule a lot of the shows that were supposed to be there till the next summer, which worked out great. But yeah, 2020, we were shut down completely. It's the first time in probably, 50 years. It was definitely a big change for all of us because summertime is our big time, and we were all just no shows, not working. It was crazy.
Right.
But yeah, we came back 2021. We had a full season, regular season. It was kind of delayed by a month. So we started in July instead of June like we normally do. We went to the end of the end of September versus the end of August like we normally do. But yeah, we're back fully now, putting on shows, and great summer experience for everybody. So.
And how long have you been there, Evan?
I started in 2017 as the assistant box office manager. 2018, I became the box office manager at the Cape venue. I did that for a couple of years. started helping with the marketing. And then after COVID, I was, promoted to the marketing coordinator, which is, I'm basically a one-man marketing team here for most of the year. So.
Right. Now, is your job to really reach out to these agents and kind of get their contracts in and review them? Are you kind of in the guts of that, or no? It's really
I work with the artist marketing team in order to like get our on sale dates up and running, and then get all that approved, and then I get the shows on sale, and then I advertise all the shows, be it digital ads with Facebook and Google, or radio or print, or more traditional things like that. But I'm more running the advertising of the shows, trying to get people in seats.
Right. Speaking of that, do you have all of a sudden, out of the blue, best friends coming out of nowhere wondering if they can come? And
the biggest ones are my parents. They love to, I always tell them the perks of having a son working in showbiz is that they can come see some shows. And so I've seen a couple shows here with my parents, and they've seen some without me, and yeah, they love it. So it's been nice to be able to share that with them.
That's really nice. So really generationally, you got really a mix, right, of the different bands that are coming in to really appeal to so many different people.
Oh yeah. We've got, older artists like the Happy Together tour, which is like a, bunch of groups from the 60s. We have newer stuff like young country artists like Lee Brice, Brett Eldridge. We get rock and roll. We've got Three Dog Night coming again this year. So things like that.
Wow.
It's all, a little something for everybody.
Yeah. Is it difficult to get stars to come to these small towns? I mean, Cohasset, it's like just it's a beautiful little dot, right?
I don't know. I'm not involved with the booking at all. But we get the best artists we can, and
really
they all put on a great show. So we always, have a good lineup for everybody.
Right. So tell us some of your favorites and some of the ones that your team is just really jazzed about that are coming this year.
Coming this year, we've got Jake Owen again. He's coming. ABBA the concert. They're an ABBA tribute band, and they put on a great show every year. They've sold out the past couple of years down the Melody Tent. We just really started announcing our schedule in December, and we just had another announcement, I think today, for the club members. So we'll be adding stuff all the way through the end of May. So I'm not exactly sure what's coming yet, but I would keep your eye on your emails, because there'll be more announcements coming soon.
And where else can we see where the shows are coming? I know you have a great colorful brochure you mail out.
We mail out a brochure every year. Our website, themusiccircus.org, or for the Melody Tent, our sister venue, it's melodytent.org. But on the homepage there is everything that we've announced so far, and anything that will be announced is there. You can sign up for our email blast, which is any sort of new shows that are added. We announce them through email, so you'd be on the first to know on all of that.
Absolutely, because I know a lot of people actually, since I've been doing the radio station for the Social Studio News, people ask me about your business all the time. So we might have to get you in the magazine.
That'd be fine with me.
Yeah, we're going to have to get you in and do a little advertising with us, because people get really excited. I mean, culture is a little bit of a challenge on the South Shore, right? I mean, people go into Boston for the museums and for all that. And Plymouth has some really, really cool historic, but the music circus and all that, that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, we're kind of smack dab in the middle of like a residential neighborhood in like a tiny suburban town. So it's cool that we're, here. And then the Melody Tent's in Hyannis, so that's probably the biggest music venue on the Cape. So it's definitely a unique thing. Right.
I will tell you a tiny story about me. I went with my husband to see Boss Gags.
Okay.
And we were over the moon, because we love Boss Gags. We're crazy about them. And I snuck in my bag some grapes. I know that sounds really wild and wicked, right? Grapes, right? But I snuck them in my bag, and I was walking through, and they kind of frisk you and they look in your bag, and they took my grapes away.
Yeah.
So
no outside food or beverages, unfortunately.
That's right. And I think I didn't know that. I wouldn't have done it. I didn't really even mean sneak. I just meant, I thought it would be nice to just kind of snack.
Yeah.
I didn't really know that. So kind of tell us about that. So whatever the restrictions now, or are there any, and, can people drink, and, tell us a little bit about all that.
We have multiple concession stands with beer, wine. We have some snack food. I think there's pizza, popcorn, ice cream, things like that. No outside food or beverage is kind of standard in the event industry, I think, especially where they sell concessions. So that's, I don't get out much. That's why I really didn't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, so you had mentioned your parents. So, you said they like to go to lots of the shows and you've gone to shows with them. That's got to be a lot of fun, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So tell us about I think you said something about your dad. He saw Tom Petty and what was,
So it's a Tom Petty tribute band that came last summer. I saw them with my dad. My dad and I had seen Tom Petty at the, Xfinity Center. It was the Tweeter Center back when we saw it back in 2008. So we both love Tom Petty, and the Tom Petty tribute band that came were great. They sounded just like them. We had a blast. It was great to be able to, share that with my dad, and we had a really great time. And then also last summer, I saw with my mom, I had gotten her tickets for her birthday for Postmodern Jukebox, which they do modern pop songs in like old timey, swing jazz style. So it's a very interesting show. I wasn't looking forward to it. My dad got COVID, or he thought he had COVID, so he couldn't go with her. So I went with her for her birthday, and I ended up loving it. It was just a blast. They had a tap dancer, little flapper tap dancer girl, and she was just amazing. And the show was just a ton of fun. We were, super close and right in the middle of it all. It was a ton of fun there.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it, right? You really feel like you can almost, you can see them sweat. You can see these people really up close, right?
Yeah. Yeah. There's been a couple, I forget what year it was, but Lee Bryce came and it was like 100 degrees outside and like 100 something in the tent, and everyone was sweating, and he was sweating on the fans. It was a great show. Everybody loved it.
Yeah, I love that. I think I read something somewhere that said that, God, I wish I could remember who. It was a pretty decent star, and he was stuck in traffic and trying to get there. And then, one thing led to another. How do you handle those kinds of things when the stars are late, or airplanes and issues, and how do you handle that?
Thankfully, that is not my job. That's the production crew. I know that they stress about it. They, try to get them there as quick as they can and get everybody, situated. Thankfully, I'm just advertising the shows. Once the show hits, it's not my job anymore. But yeah, getting people there on time is definitely a big thing. So yeah, it's important.
Now, do you have to hire police or security for these?
I believe, yes, we have our own security, and they hire police as well.
You do? Yeah. I remember when I had pulled up, I saw the huge van buses, and it's kind of really fun because you picture that they're living in that, right? A lot of them travel this way.
Yeah. Yep. They travel in the big tour buses and all that stuff. It's cool to see.
Yeah. Really cool to see. Yeah. So give us an idea. So this coming season, you got some new stars coming.
Yep.
I'm sure. What can people expect? COVID's kind of behind us, even though there's of course, this variant that's we're going to hear about them for, probably forever. Yeah. Anything new people can expect? Any changes?
Definitely some new artists coming. I know there's some newer country coming this summer. But yeah, we're back at business as usual at this moment. Regular seasons, no COVID restrictions, anything like that. At this time, that could change, obviously. But yeah, this year for our club members, we added a new benefit that they can purchase the Express Beverage Pass, which, we're only selling 75 per show. So the club members can buy that pass and get in a shorter designated express line and not have to wait in the long, concessions lines. They could, a sold out show can get very, very busy. So that's a new feature this year, for the club members. So yeah, we're excited about that.
Yeah. And I can't imagine how many people it takes from start to finish, right? So are you constantly hiring for different people in terms of either security or just really everything? Are you always looking for staffing?
Seasonally, yes. I think there's like 6 of us here year round. And then in the summertime, we ramp up to, lots and lots of people for show days and that kind of thing, from box office to concessions to security, production crew. Right. All sorts of staff but it's really only for the show months from like June till like Labor Day weekend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. It makes sense. And how about kids? Is it strictly evenings, or is there other children's shows during the day? Or I'm not really.
Yep.
I can't really
we do. We used to do more. We did some last summer with the Cohasset Youth Theater. They did a children's theater show. I think it was Cinderella, and yeah, they did a great job. They've been doing children's theater here at the Music Circus and the Melody Tent since like they opened in the 60s. My mom has told me that she went and saw the Kaleidoscope Children's Theater shows here at the Music Circus when she was a little girl. So they've been doing it for a long time. Most of the shows now are evening shows, but they're all ages unless otherwise, designated. So we have, people bringing their kids and, grandparents and all sorts of stuff. So it's a lot of fun, especially for like the Beatles tribute shows or the ABBA tribute shows where they're in, full costume and singing all the old songs that everybody knows. And those are definitely big family nights. So it's great to see all the, different ages of people coming in.
Yeah. And I love that you went with your dads because it's kind of a great family trip, right? Because their memories, they're trying to introduce you to music that they loved.
Right.
And hopefully vice versa,
Yeah. My dad and I see a lot of music together. So it's always nice to be able to share, being able to work here and the shows that come here with my parents. So that's always fun.
That's so super. So when does it start? When is the first concert?
First show is probably mid-June at this point. It's the Happy Together tour. As of this time, we'll be adding more shows till the end of May. So I'm not sure exactly what the starting date is, but box office will open for in-person sales at the window in like late April. And then the Melody Tennis Memorial Day weekend. And then we run till I think through Labor Day. Yeah.
That's really, really exciting. So our segment is almost up here. We only have about 15, 20 minutes to chat in this podcast. But before we kind of sign off, is there anything you kind of want to share or any story that would kind of stick with people?
Yeah. So I've got two from the Melody Tent, both involving Lyle Lovett. Two separate shows, two separate incidences. But one of them, because Lyle Lovett has his large band, which is just a lot of people. And so the mechanism that turns the stage and makes it rotate, the chain on it snapped under the weight of his large band. So they had to rig up a system with boards to lift and turn the stage every song, like do a quarter turn every song in between every song. And so they were doing that by hand during the show. And then another Lyle Lovett story was from the night before Hurricane Irene hit Cape Cod. Lyle Lovett was performing. He closed out the show with Goodnight Irene, and then the whole crew had to take down the tent before the hurricane hit so it didn't get blown away or damaged. And the tent up and tent down involved dozens and dozens of people. It's an all-day event. They start at, first light and go till dark. It takes all day. Those tent pieces are incredibly heavy and large. And so they did that all in the dark at night after working, all day long, and got it down just in time before the hurricane hit and, saved the tent. And then they had to put it up a couple days later because there was more shows going on. So those are just, they say, show must go on. So, that's showbiz.
Yeah. And that's a great way to end us because that is the reality, right? Failure is not an option.
Nope. The show must go on. And that's, what it does here. So we just keep going.
Well, that's so exciting. Evan, thank you so much for joining me today. What a pleasure and wishing you continued success.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Really wonderful. Please remember all that this segment is being recorded and can be found along with other segments on South Shore Senior News. Thank you again, Evan. A pleasure. And see you all next time all. Thank you.